Thanks so much for watching THV11 News at Noon on this Thursday, Veterans Day. I'm Michael Aaron alongside meteorologist Nathan Scott. We want to start here by first saying a heartfelt thank you to all of those who are serving or who have served for our country on this Veterans Day as we recognize you. And a lot of people got outside this morning and there are events happening all throughout the day. Not a bad day to be out there. A little windy, I would say.
Much better than what we dealt with last night. Yeah. We had that round of showers and storms, so it woke me up.
Yep.
Lots of lightning, lots of thunder. Fortunately, though, driving around, the leaves are hanging on. Lots of beautiful fall color. Just driving into Little Rock, some amazing displays out there. But there were some gusty winds around the region. Here are the max wind gusts since midnight. You can see Little Rock Airport reached a wind gust of 38 miles per hour. Same story for Conway. Most locations flirted with around 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. The good news is we saw some rain. We needed the rain, and we saw a good dose of rain in many spots. Around an inch in Little Rock, around an inch and 2/3 for you folks in Searcy. So most locations saw at least a half inch of rain. All the clouds and rain now exiting off to the east, and it's going to be a quiet afternoon across the region. Temperatures comfortable into the low to mid 60s. There could be some clouds down to the south. Slim chance there could be maybe a sprinkle down in South Arkansas as a weak disturbance will pass its way through just down to our south. Highs today topping out into the mid to upper 60s. Tonight, though, it will be cooler, and we've got another cold front that'll be arriving here tomorrow morning. And that one will bring in some much cooler temperatures. So I'll have more on that coming up later.
We start here at noon with an update to a story we brought you as breaking news on Wake Up Central today. The U.S. Department of Transportation is out with its report on the inspection into the I-40 bridge crack. Of course, the damage forced the bridge to close for several months between West Memphis and Memphis over the Mississippi River there. And now the federal agency is faulting the Arkansas Department of Transportation for not having highly qualified engineers overseeing the bridge inspections. The report makes several recommendations to fix the issue, including more in-depth, pardon me for just one moment, that includes more in-depth inspections and more qualified personnel, not just those on the inspection team. In a statement, RDOT Director Lori Tudor said the department will move forward making changes necessary to make sure something like this never happens again. You can find a link to the full report on thv11.com. We'll have more on the finding coming up right here tonight at 5 and 6. 55, that is the number of homicides the city of Little Rock has seen so far this year. That is already more than 2020, which saw the highest homicide rate in more than a decade. Now the Little Rock Police Department and other groups are searching for ways to slow this trend. Edmund Davis is the director of the Derek Olivier Research Institute, where he and his students look at crime data trends in the city. Davis says about 90% of the homicide victims in the capital city are black, with about 80% being black men. As for the solution, Davis says the city needs more community involvement.
We have to address these broken relationships because hurt people hurt people. Of course, education, these are high school dropouts. According to the Dory data, we're looking at an elevated number of high school dropouts in Ward number 6 right here.
Right now, Little Rock is averaging about 1 homicide every 7 days. Let's turn now to the latest on the tragedy at a Houston concert that killed 8 people. Rapper Travis Scott continued to perform after the declaration of a mass casualty event there. The city's police chief initially defended the decision not to stop the show immediately, but yesterday he told a different story. Lilia Luciano has the update.
For roughly an hour, a chaotic scene raged at the Astroworld Music Festival Friday night, and the show continued for almost 40 minutes after a mass casualty event was declared. Now, investigators are trying to figure out why. On Wednesday, Houston Police Chief Troy Finner said his officers were in communication with festival personnel as CPR was being administered to multiple individuals. He later clarified on Twitter that police also told those in charge of the event to shut down the performance.
The ultimate authority to end a show is with production and the entertainer, okay? And that should be through communication with public safety officials.
But on Saturday, in the more immediate aftermath of the festival, Finner defended the decision to let the show continue and said his department was part of that choice.
You cannot just close when you got 50,000 and over 50,000 individuals, okay? We have to worry about rioting, and there was a cooperation and discussion between promoters, our fire department, the police department, so I think that part was pretty good.
CBS News obtained video from a source close to the Astroworld Music Festival, appearing to show police near the stage during Scott's performance. This video was shot at around 10 p.m., with police seemingly unaware of the severity of the situation in the crowd, some 20 minutes after the mass casualty event was declared. The source says that means it would be difficult for the performers to know as well.
Regarding those images, Houston police says that they're looking into the actions of everyone involved, and that includes their own officers. Now, late Wednesday night, Travis Scott's attorney put out a statement accusing city officials of finger-pointing, of sending inconsistent messages, and of backtracking on their original statements. On that, HPD is not commenting. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, Houston.
Today we take the time to say thank you to those who have served our country. The state held its Veterans Day ceremony at the MacArthur Museum of Arkansas Military History this morning. Senator John Bozeman and the Little Rock Air Force Base's 19th Airlift Wing Commander Colonel Angela Ochoa reflected on the dedication and sacrifice millions of Arkansans have made to protect us as well as people around the world. The ceremony was just one of many happening across the state today. From parades and flyovers to wreath-laying ceremonies at grave sites and memorials, people across the country are honoring those who served this Veterans Day. The commemoration originated at the end of World War I. On November 11th, 1918, an armistice with Germany went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, ending major hostilities. A year later, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11th the first official Armistice Day, which later became Veterans Day. No matter the branch or the war, every veteran has an incredible story to tell. Just ask two Vietnam vets, both of whom would not be here without the other, who returned for the first time in 53 years, reunited, I should say. Mike Bush has their story.
What you need to try to find is 125.
What's 125? What is that?
That's a route number.
There is never an easy route to the places that matter. And on this day,
It's exit number 76.
two men are going in a new direction. The destination is Ashland, Illinois, a farming community about 120 miles in decibels from St. Louis.
I've always liked farming because you're your own boss. You can tell by the
Dale Edge lives and works on 400 acres, where it's been a good year for soybeans.
Now they're putting on pods and filling pods.
Edge has been farming this land practically all his life, except for the time when he traded in his work boots for army boots. The year was 1968, and Dale Edge was drafted to fight for his country in Vietnam.
I knew probably that I'd get drafted. I wasn't going to volunteer, but I wasn't going to run either.
But the Vietnam War was like a wound that never healed. Soldiers bravely faced the enemy, only to come home and face scorn as soon as their plane landed.
There's guys kissing the ground, glad to be back, glad to made it. And then when you go another 30 feet or from here to the car and they start screaming and hollering stuff at you, I ain't gonna repeat it.
That's why Dale took his feelings and his stories and buried them. Except for one story that needed an ending. And recently, after getting his first smartphone, he finally decided to solve the mystery by doing some checking on the internet. Then got up the courage to make a phone call.
I said, Dale, I got to be really honest. I don't know who you are. I said, and he said, well, I understand that. It's 53 years ago. I can understand that.
73-year-old Fred Jorleen lives in Minnesota and works for Great Steps, a company that makes prosthetic and orthotic devices. And he's pretty popular with his clients.
They like people that are amputees because you can feel some of the stuff. And some people like that. You know, oh, you've got one? Okay, then I'm okay. This is all titanium.
Fred lost his leg during a firefight in Vietnam.
I got behind a tree, dropped down on this knee, this leg was up, and I was shooting around the tree, and an RPG hit right there, that side of the tree.
Dale remembers that attack.
Just like that lightning, boom, she went off. They throwed an RPG in on us. Before the medics got there, I put a tourniquet on Fred's leg.
And then he remembers keeping Fred calm and helping to get him on a medical evacuation chopper. Fred told him, "I'm gonna see you at home."
I said, I'll never forget that, Fred. And I didn't.
They were in the same platoon, but didn't know each other that well before that day. Still, for more than half a century, Dale Edge wondered.
I didn't know if he lived. I wanted to know if he made it or not. Slow down, slow down.
That one phone call filled a void.
Yeah.
And then his heart was filled when Fred drove more than 560 miles for a reunion, more than 50 years in the making.
I'm doing fine, Fred.
Me too. Good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy.
It's been a couple of weeks, right?
So much time and distance meant so little. As soon as the two men started talking,
Doesn't matter.
they would spend the weekend excavating memories.
It was an answer to prayer. If you want to know the truth, I don't know how many times I prayed for that man.
Means a lot in here. You love him. He's a comrade. That's on one of the towers, the watchtowers.
Oh, yeah.
Remembering the hard days is always easier with an old friend.
And we was zigzagging down the mountain.
For the first time since they've been back from Vietnam, these two veterans finally get a welcome home.
Welcome
we
home,
made it.
buddy.
Thank you. You too.
Mike Bush reporting for us this afternoon. All day, you have been sending us pictures and stories about the veterans in your life. You're seeing some of those right there on your screen. We have gotten hundreds of them, but we want to see more. You can send those in, the photo, the name, the story, to 501-376-1111. Just send us a text. Thank you for those, and thank you again to every veteran for your service.